And we're already starting off strong because there's a big battle going on between the demon army and the human army. And the man leading it all, his name is Sha Feng Liao. He is the leader of humanity's strongest group, and the guy is just a little bit excited about it. He's already hyping up his troops because when he finishes this invasion, the only thing he's going to do is marry his goddess. That's already settled, and just look at the caliber of the girl.
Yeah, boy.
But then something unexpected happens. He ends up dying, but it doesn't take long before he is reborn. Except it's not the way he wanted, because he was reborn in the body of a demon. Look at the state the guy is in. He freaks out and says he needs to go back and get married right away. The system immediately informs him that he can be reborn as a human. He just has to die again. But the system also warns him that suicide won't work. The guy gets pumped, thinking this is his chance, because dying should be too easy. But this man is unlucky, because every time he tries to die, he levels up instead. And because of that, he starts evolving quickly. And now the guy doesn't even know what to do anymore. The demon race starts admiring him a lot. Even the demon queen starts admiring him. And look at her blushing. The guy is set in this world, and the demon queen even gives him a maid and falls hard for him as his fame grows. He gains a crazy friendship, and right after that, the entire demon army bows to him in respect. And with his luck, even the demon king from 200 years ago recognizes him, and the guy gains an absurd aura. And that's when he realizes that if he doesn't die soon, he's going to become the demon king of this world. With that, many battles start unfolding, but his friend is a beast and keeps defeating a lot of people. Then, the human army takes action again and goes to attack the demon's base. The guy stands alone in front of this army and tanks a powerful attack. But something unexpected happens. He doesn't die. The madman keeps provoking humanity and mocking them because the only thing he wants is to die. And just look at his face. He's unarmed and tells everyone to take him down if they have the guts. But because of that, he gains even more admiration from the demons. His friend gets even stronger. The demon queen falls even harder for him. And with all these twists, the guy temporarily changes his stance because something happened. At that moment, he gets just a little bit angry. And that was a small summary of what's going to happen in this story. So, our story begins with our protagonist remembering his beloved and her saying that she will wait for him until he returns from this battle. And the moment he arrives, the two will get married. The guy got really excited and told her not to worry because he would come out victorious from this battle. And the guy took his army to the strongest base of the demons. His army was strong, but most of them got wiped out. However, the guy didn't retreat and charged at this demon. With that, he and the remaining soldiers attacked the Demon King with the intent of ending this fight as quickly as possible. At that moment, he declares that the 1,000-year battle between demons and humanity will end now, and it will be by his hands. The guy is furious because he manages to slice up this demon effortlessly. After cutting up the demon, he sheathes his sword and says that this will be a definitive victory for humanity. The demon, even after being sliced up, still hasn't given up. He asks our boy if he's really serious about this. But at that moment, the system gives him an alert, and the madman starts getting a little worried. The demon then warns that if he goes down, he's taking everyone with him. With that, his body starts swelling up, because at this moment, he is about to self-destruct. Our protagonist asks him if he really has to be so toxic, and then everything ends with this small explosion. The system notifies our guy that there are 2 minutes left until he dies, but shortly after, it congratulates him because, thanks to his achievement, he will be able to reincarnate. The guy is all busted up on the ground, and then the system asks him if he really accepts reincarnation. Our madman doesn't even think, he just accepts it. At that moment, everything goes black, but soon he hears a voice telling him to wake up, and when he opens his eyes, he is incredibly happy because he really did reincarnate, and just look at his happy face. But then, everyone around him starts looking at him with a nasty expression, and he kind of realizes what's happening. His expression changes, and he asks these men why he is surrounded by a bunch of ugly demons. But the guys don't pay him any attention and say that the Blue Union is coming after them, and if they don't run, they're going to die soon. Our madman scratches his head and asks this old guy if he's really talking to him. The old man doesn't understand much, so our boy sees a mirror. He walks up to this mirror and sees that his reflection looks a little different. He gets scared and starts wondering why the heck he turned into a demon. At this moment, he starts yelling at the system, demanding it to show up immediately and asking why the heck the system did this to him. The people behind him start wondering if this kid is okay. At that moment, the system appears and tells him that it seems like there was an error. The madman gets irritated and the system apologizes, saying that they can't do anything about it for now. Our boy immediately asks for customer support, questioning what kind of service they're even running. Then he grabs the system window and demands to speak to its manager. Another window pops up, saying that he can be reborn as a human, but he has to die again, and suicide won't work. The system disappears, leaving him with a dumbfounded look on his face. In this world, his name is Dono, and the guys in front of him ask why he suddenly went crazy. The old man says that he's always like this because whenever something bad happens, he becomes practically useless. The man explains that every time the human army attacks them, he kind of loses his mind and says that he'll probably die soon. But our madman just starts whining and remembering his wife. It doesn't take long before this woman starts tracking the human's location, and they are 1 kilometer away. She says she can feel them getting closer and that they need to leave this place immediately because, at this moment, except for the queen, who is rank B, none of them stand a chance against these men. They say that the rank B people were caught in a tough battle and that now they need to use the escape route. If they don't do it now, they'll be captured and interrogated in a not-so-gentle way. That's when our boy realizes that the Blue Union is a group of humans, and since they are close, this makes things a bit dangerous. And since he was reborn as a demon, there's no way they'll let him live. So he gives that devilish smile and says that if he lets these people kill him, he'll be able to reincarnate as a human again. Then he starts walking toward the exit, leaving everyone confused. The people shout and ask what the heck he's doing. The old man asks if he's being an idiot because there are humans outside, but the kid says that running away now won't solve anything. Smiling, he looks at his people and tells them that he'll hold off the humans alone until they can escape. The people are shocked and start wondering if this man is really going to sacrifice himself for them. They ask themselves where the coward they once knew has gone. But at that moment, our boy turns around because he hears a noise. Above them, a magic circle appears, and from this circle, several stones start falling. These stones block the exit, and the boy immediately panics. Then, the Demon King's daughter appears and says that they grew up together, and that she won't let him sacrifice himself because everyone is going to make it out of this place safe and sound. The man, in despair and in his thoughts, tells her to stop him from reincarnating. Then, angrily, he goes to throw a punch, but his punch is completely useless. It doesn't even move the rocks. The madman looks at this princess and immediately starts calling her stupid and annoying, and in his thoughts, he says that his hand is hurting. The woman can't even believe that he called her stupid. The old man immediately yells at him, asking how he dares to speak that way to Her Majesty. Then he looks at the people with confidence and tells them not to underestimate the determination of a man who is ready to sacrifice himself. At this moment, the princess prays, and you all know what that means. In her thoughts, she wonders how she didn't notice before this great masculinity of his. Then, our boy tries to convince them, saying that all they've been doing is hiding. He asks what is so scary about humans. He declares to everyone that he is a brave demon and tells them all to let him die with dignity. The people are in awe of this, but just look at this guy's face, because at that moment he realizes that none of them are going to try to stop him. The princess starts crying, moved by this story. Then, at that moment, the old man calls her and says they need to get out of this place immediately. A few minutes pass, and our boy manages to leave the cave. Then, he finds the people outside, who are completely confused and wondering what the hell this demon is doing. Our madman spreads his arms wide and tells everyone to come get him. And if this strategy doesn't work, he's already got another one in mind. He starts provoking each one of them, saying that if they are real men, they should come and kill him already, because a free opportunity like this doesn't come twice. At that moment, the people draw their weapons and charge at him, and our boy breaks into a huge grin. In his thoughts, he says that now he will finally be able to reincarnate again and return to his beloved. But at that moment, an arrow appears and flies toward the humans. The arrow hits one of the madmen, and the rest start dodging. The one in front immediately assumes it's an ambush. Our boy can't even believe what's happening, and the one who shot that arrow was that old man. Then, the system alerts him that the demons have entered a state of emotional stimulation, and for a short period, they will be one rank higher. At this moment, our boy is in shock, thinking. Then, the old man mentions that it had been a while since he had been in an exciting battle, and says that since the Demon King exploded, these humans have been attacking them continuously. And since they were not resisting, the humans were looting the people. And this old man says that this is why they felt weak. Then, he touches our boy's shoulder and says that he was right this time. Then, the rest of the people appear, and the demon princess comes with an absurd aura and tells her companions to attack. The humans start wondering what the heck is going on, and our boy turns to them, wondering if these demons entered a state of inspiration because of him. The urge to laugh is strong, but the urge to cry is stronger. At that moment, the princess starts levitating. More horns appear on her, and she says again that she will not leave any demon behind. The humans at this moment enter into despair because one of these guys said that there were only weak demons in this place, and they start wondering why the heck there is a rancor among them. The man next to him becomes even more desperate. Then, at that moment, the princess starts gathering several stones, and in this way, she throws them at these madmen, knocking each one down and creating a crater in this place. And in this way, the Blue Union was exterminated, and our boy is left with this dumbfounded look, because now, instead of dying, he leveled up. And at this moment, our boy is like this, just wishing to die. And far from this place, over in the capital Yun, at Hoan's residence, there are some people gathered, and a messenger comes to deliver news to them. And this madman here is already asking what he is talking about because he had a certain plan, and this was the drawbridge plan. And he is asking this man if it really was a failure. A madman in a lab coat is saying that yes, this experiment was a total failure. He mentions that their original plan was to wait for the exact moment when Her Highness would be surrounded by the Blue Union and everyone near her would enter into despair. And after Her Majesty was taken, they would send Master Chiang Wu-jin leading the demon soldiers to rescue her. And in this way, he would be able to show all his masculinity to her. And just look at this madman's face. And he warns that after his young master was stepping on human corpses and holding Her Majesty in his arms, she would end up falling in love thanks to the drawbridge spell. But he warns that suddenly, some random demon made everyone enter an exalted state, and thus Her Majesty wiped out everyone in that place. So, the mission failed. Then, the madman warns that Her Majesty also entered the exalted state and was also able to use the Queen's power. The madman looks at his general and asks what they are going to do. This is Huan, the general of the demonic troops. He says that he has all the military power in his hands, so he will use the influence of the three great families and will force the Queen to marry his son. By doing this, no one will be able to refute him. Then, he orders his soldiers to send his son back immediately and announces that tomorrow they will make the marriage proposal. Then, he tells these men that he already knew this drawbridge spell wouldn't work because, to him, it's nonsense. Meanwhile, in the Queen's palace, our Queen is taking her bath. And who is she thinking about? About Gan Dongwo, of course. She is remembering how courageous he was, and she is in love thanks to the effect of the drawbridge spell. At that moment, she calls her servant and tells her to bring our boy because she wants to give him a reward. Her servant immediately starts thinking nonsense because just look at this crazy woman's thoughts. Then, she takes Her Majesty's request and says she is going to fetch him right away. In her thoughts, Her Majesty is wondering what the servant is thinking because the only thing she wants to do is give him a reward. A little farther away, the madman is looking at his skill window, and the system is notifying him that he has 120 points to distribute. He immediately tells the system to go to hell and take those points with it, saying that distributing points is too difficult. Then, he looks at his status, and it shows that he is an elite demon of rank D, and he knows that rank D is way too weak. He wonders how no one has managed to kill him yet. At that moment, the maid arrives with a big smile on her face, already announcing that Her Majesty is calling for him. With this cynical little face right here, he approaches the woman and immediately starts calling her sister. At that moment, the woman blushes approaches and asks if he has been drinking, but our boy is just teasing her. Then, upon arriving at a certain place, he tells her that only she can help him and that he needs her to kill him. And here we realize that this woman is a bit of a masochist because she agrees with what this man is saying. Just look at this girl's face, thinking about our boy and how aggressive he is when he's drunk, but our boy is completely sober. Then she remembers something she did, the blow she gave to our boy's head. This makes her really excited, but she says that now is not the time and tells him that today he completely belongs to the queen. Then in the royal hall, the queen calls for him and tells him that due to his performance in battle, she is specially awarding him the first-class heroic merit. This way, he will be able to walk freely through the palace. She also says that in addition, she will give him a special bonus, which is the Slayer's set, that will help him become a true hero. The maid's eyes sparkle because she is amazed at our boy for receiving this uniform. After all, it is the Demon King's sacred armor, and she is the one handing over this armor. At that moment, our boy makes this face and wonders what the hell is going on. He takes the armor, but soon heads toward the exit. The two of them watch him leave, and in their thoughts, they say that he is surprisingly calm. And the queen, since she is in love, is totally enamored with the way he is acting, because, to her, it seems like he has matured a lot. Then, outside, when our boy steps out, there are some people standing at the entrance, and these madmen are already irritated. This old man here can't even believe that the queen gave that equipment to this nobody. He says that such a reward was supposed to be given to the demonic order, and calls it irresponsible of the queen to give it to this man. He is extremely outraged because he has dedicated his life to protecting this city, and because of that, he is even considering switching sides and joining General Juan. Then, our boy approaches this old man and calls out to him. The madman doesn't understand at first, but as soon as he realizes the way this boy spoke to him, he immediately gets irritated. In his thoughts, he is already assuming that the boy came to show off with that armor, but it was the complete opposite. Then he informs the man that this set of armor is for him. The madman's jaw drops in surprise, and he asks our boy if this is really for him. Our boy, feeling a bit awkward, says yes. In his thoughts, he says that he wants to die, so keeping this armor won't do him any good. That's why he decided to give it to just anyone and make up some nonsense along the way. Then he tells the man that Her Majesty formally requested that he give this armor to him, thanks to the great work he has been doing. So he gives the man a thumbs up and tells him to enjoy it. Then he leaves, and the guy is left standing there, not understanding anything. Even his subordinates are wondering what the hell is going on. Then this madman nearly has a heart attack and immediately apologizes to Her Majesty for having bad thoughts. He declares that from now on, he will fulfill his duty until death. Meanwhile, when our boy is already far away, he is thinking of another way to get himself killed. Then he realizes that the demonic alliance is quite united. So he decides that the next day he will go somewhere else, just so he can finally die. But at that moment, he hears something. Someone is calling for their young master. So he sneaks a peek and listens in on a small conversation. The madman asks why he is in this place so early, and the bent-over guy says that it was his father who decided this. He warns that tomorrow, after gathering the three great families, they will go straight to the palace to propose a marriage, and anyone who refuses will be immediately killed. At this moment, our boy becomes even more interested, because as soon as someone mentions the army and getting killed, he breaks into a big smile. That way, he decides to stay a little longer in this place. Meanwhile, in the kingdom's conference hall, the people are gathered, and the madman has actually brought his army. Everyone is surrounding the queen, and our boy is right there in the middle. He is already starting to panic because he never thought this meeting would be so boring. He is already begging for it to end quickly because he just wants to get to the part that really matters. Once again, this madman speaks up, saying that the queen has been absent for 3 years and that it is an honor to have her in this place again. He mentions that the human army is retreating after failing to conquer one of his cities, all thanks to the general's strength. The queen acknowledges that the general's forces are indeed impressive and adds that they need to reward him. At that moment, the general tries to speak with her and announces that he has a request to make. He then calls for his son, and the young man steps forward. The general then asks the queen to bless his son's marriage. He explains that the two grew up together, and this would be a great honor. And just look at the dumbfounded face of this guy. The queen, innocent and completely in love with our boy, speaks with this madman for the first time in 3 years and asks him if he has someone in mind. The general then speaks up again and requests that Her Majesty marry his son. What the hell? The woman immediately panics and asks what he is talking about, telling him not to joke around. The general then informs her that it doesn't matter whether she likes someone or not. Everything in this world is based on interests. Therefore, she needs to set aside her feelings and do something for the greater good of her nation. He explains that for thousands of years, the demonic race has always been ruled by men. If Her Majesty takes the throne, people will talk, and there will be serious negative reactions. But if she marries his son, she will be able to silence them. The people standing behind the general say that this makes sense, and add that young Wu Jin is quite brave and handsome, making him the perfect choice for this marriage. Meanwhile, this old man standing beside our boy mutters that this is outrageous, and asks how he could even propose such an absurd idea. And our boy, he's just standing there, lost in thought. At this moment, the queen feels unsure, and just as she is about to respond, our boy sees this as his chance. And just look at the face of this son of a bitch. At that moment, he moves toward the queen, and the old man asks him what the hell he is doing. Then, he grabs the queen's arm and pulls her to his side. He tells her not to let these provocations affect her, and warns that everyone has the right to seek happiness. At this moment, the queen is blushing and tries to speak with her friend Gan. Then, our boy calls out to the general and asks him what kind of proposal this is. In the background, that madman from the previous day recognizes this young man and starts wondering what the hell he is doing. At that moment, the queen tells the general that she is sorry. The general looks at the two of them and gets irritated. He says that he has dedicated his life to this city and announces that today, the Order of Demons has finally recognized him. Now, he is asking for a reward right in front of the throne. Then, he starts unleashing his aura and tells the queen to think carefully. At that moment, the old man points his bow at this guy and asks what the hell he is doing, trying to intimidate the queen and make her abdicate the throne. The other old man also looks at him and warns him to be careful with his behavior. The old man is not scared at all and says that he holds all the military power, then asks these men if they are really going to try to attack him. And just look at the people standing behind him. They are already prepared to kill everyone. The queen, feeling uneasy, asks everyone to calm down. She says that the general is right, and just as she is about to agree with his proposal, our boy immediately pays attention. At that moment, he starts grinning like a maniac, distracting the queen. He tells her not to be stupid, orders her not to give up her throne, and tells her to fight for what is hers. And with this terrifying expression, he looks at the general and asks him what's so scary. The general steps closer to our boy and asks him who the hell he is. Our boy simply responds by, bro, spitting in the general's face. At that moment, the general becomes absolutely furious, but our boy keeps provoking him. He tells the general that he only got the power of the 3 great families because he has this little army. At that moment, he gives the general a few slaps to the face, and while hitting him, he tells him that he is nothing more than a henchman of the Demon King and orders him to stop being so arrogant. Then, he points at the queen and says that she is a formidable Kijmanjing queen, warning that she is the most powerful woman in this kingdom, so she cannot be handed over to just any lowlife. The irritated general snaps, saying that this lunatic is talking nonsense, and orders him to shut up. Then, he asks him if his son is not suitable, then who else would be? At that moment, with that little smirk, our boy says that he would be more suitable for the queen, and informs them that they had a secret meeting back in the cave where they were imprisoned. In our boy's thoughts, with that little grin, he knows that by provoking this guy, it will be impossible for him not to want to kill him. And it's true, because that lunatic is already gathering power in his hand, and everyone can already tell what he's about to do. The old man asks how this guy dares to humiliate the great general. The woman behind him is impressed and says that little Gan has grown a lot. She is happy that he has a thing with Her Majesty. The soldiers are shocked by this news and start wondering when exactly this relationship happened. The queen is is flustered and completely blushing. She's already thinking the wrong thing because she assumes our boy did all of this for her. The furious general asks if he's looking to die right away. Just look at this man's rage. Our boy provokes him and tells him to come at him if he has the guts. The irritated general declares that he has just committed a crime and that the only thing awaiting him now is death. Then the crowd starts shouting, telling everyone to get back because the general is about to unleash his atomic punch. Just look at the sheer amount of power this lunatic has gathered. At that moment, he gets ready and charges at our boy. The old man from yesterday tries to help our kid, but he knows it's already too late. And our boy, he just takes the hit and look at his face. He's happy because what he's thinking is that he's finally going to reunite with his beloved. And after that reunion, he will finally be able to marry her. At that moment, an explosion occurs, and everyone just watches as the dust begins to settle. The lunatic notices something and I can't believe it, because what he's seeing is the flames dying down and our boy standing right in the middle of them. Then he asks, how the hell is this possible? But at that moment, our boy received something. Demonic order activated. Fatal blow successfully blocked. Our boy leveled up, but it wasn't just one level, it was 40 levels. And now he was promoted from rank D to rank A. Oh, with this, he gained two new abilities. And there he is, just staring at his status window. The people behind him can't believe it. Her Majesty, you gave the demonic military order to this man because this is something that only the Demon King can grant once in a lifetime. This military order comes with the High Demon King's complete trust, and with it, he will now gain shared experience with him. At that moment, the Queen has already activated her ability and is now speaking to the general. She has put things in order and says that her grandfather and father granted him the military order, but now she is granting the military order to our boy, and she announces to everyone present that our boy will now be the Saint and Right General. Wow. As the Right General, alongside Huan Aisin, he will lead the entire demonic army. Hearing this, everyone is in shock, but the lunatic is furious because he realizes that the Queen is trying to balance his power, and in his mind, he's thinking, no one will dare recognize this brat. At that moment, the men start saluting the Right General, and soon after, the entire army kneels and salutes the general. Our boy just watches this unfold, and whoa, look at his face. The only thing he's thinking is that this is worse than eating crap. But there was one person who did not kneel, and that was the Moinder General. He states that the Moinder demonic military order is already proof enough that Her Highness trusts him. However, he warns that a man who has never led troops in battle will never convince anyone that he is worthy of being followed, so he immediately makes a proposal to the boy. He informs the Queen that the only way for him to be recognized is by passing through the ancestors' cave, and if he succeeds, and he will hand over his commander's insignia. The old men are furious and call this lunatic deceitful, on warning that no one has managed to pass this test in the last 100 years. So they ask the general what his true intentions are. Another elder insists that our boy has already proven himself worthy. At that moment, the Spaw's Queen tries to restore order, saying that the cave is forbidden. Everyone who has entered it has never come out alive. But upon hearing this, our boy becomes very interested. The Mai general mocks everyone, calling them a bunch of cowards. But our boy raises his hand, immediately agreeing with the meek General Zhao and eagerly asking where the cave is. Look at this lunatic's face. Everyone hearing this is shocked, and even the Bo general himself can't believe that he accepted. 200 years ago, this demonic clan fell into a terrible crisis, and the Baekwado's ancestor Liu Yun sacrificed himself to protect the people. Thus, Hiba sealed all his power inside a demonic cave, waiting for a worthy future king to access it. However, 100 years have passed, and no one has ever succeeded in passing this test. And Deishalo old man explains that entering the cave requires at least 2 people. So he asks if anyone is willing to go with our boy. What? Everyone in the room freezes in fear. Ashi, saying that it's too dangerous and that they don't want to die. At that moment, the board general states that if no one is willing to go with him, then he will have to take the test alone. Then, from a top within the crowd, a C hand rises. It is the Bao general's son, declaring that he agrees to take the test. The Bot general approaches Dira and asks him, who gave you permission to act on your own. The boy asks his father if he thinks he is not worthy of doing this. Meanwhile, the people behind them whisper that he is the future of the Yun Kingdom and that he cannot take such a risk. At that moment, the lunatic declares that only those recognized by the ancestor can obtain the king's power. So he warns that if there is to be a king, that king must be him. Everyone watching is amazed by his boldness, but his father facepalms, thinking his son is an idiot. Far from there, after all this chaos, some guys are trying to convince the young master to give up. But when they realize it won't work, one of them tries to encourage him, saying that during the cave mission, all he has to do is take out our boy. At that moment, the lunatic pretends to listen, but in reality, he's straightening his hair, burning it, and he casually tells the guy that he'll know what to do at the right time. Meanwhile, where our boy is Mantro, people are talking to him. They say that the general's son is extremely arrogant and also cruel, warning that at any moment he might stab him in the back. Dyson, but with Hazas that sly grin on his face. Our boy is already expecting that to happen. Then the old man calls our boy over and tells him that he brought healing potions and buffs for him. He warns that the cave is extremely dangerous and advises him to be careful. Looking at the man, our boy says he went overboard with all these potions, but he accepts them anyway. At the cave entrance, people start gathering. Our boy approaches the general's son, hands him a pouch of potions, and tells him that it's for his survival. At that moment, a woman asks if they are ready, and both confirm. The McQueen tells our boy not to get hurt, saying that she will be waiting for him when he returns. But at that moment, no one knows yet that the demon king who will change this world, is about to be born. Then, the Baranjust, Redhead, and our boy say they are ready, giving the signal to begin. The Senjinsto woman starts casting a magic formation, making a magic circle appear on the ground, teleporting the two into the cave. The moment they enter the cave, some creatures are already waiting for them, bat spirits. The lunatics walk forward carelessly, so the Redhead says he doesn't know what to expect from this cave and insists that they need to stay alert. Our boy remembers what that girl said, that the Redhead will choose the right moment to stab him in the back. And then our boy starts speaking loudly and exposes his back, declaring that he's unarmed, unequipped, and only came with these mediocre clothes. The Redhead, confused, asks what the hell he's doing and why he's making himself such an easy target. But our boy just wears this bizarre grin, thinking that this is the perfect moment to be stabbed. At that moment, the Redhead activates an ability, and a blade appears in his hand. Our boy smirks, convinced that he's about to be attacked, but then he hears the Redhead say, flower. At that moment, a flower drifts past his eyes. The next thing he knows, the Redhead flies past him, leaving our boy utterly confused about what just happened. The cow's flower reaches a bat spirit. She and the whole Redhead slices through it like it's nothing. Our boy, watching this, is stunned. Then, the two of them find themselves completely surrounded. They're encircled by bat spirits. At that moment, the lunatic grabs a flower and scatters petals all around the area. The bats dive at them, but as the Saibant petals spread, the lunatic snaps his fingers, instantly turning them into thorns. The point thorns slash through all the bat spirits, cutting them down in an instant. Then, our Redhead turns to our boy, asking if he had noticed the spirits before, and if that was why he was drawing attention to himself. He admits it was a clever strategy, but warns our boy that it won't be enough to surpass him. With a ridiculous grin, our boy gives him a thumbs up and says, you caught on fast. The Redhead, feeling proud, boasts that his strategy was obvious. Not long after, the Purspasu Redhead is already slicing through every creature in sight, fully living up to his reputation as one of the strongest warriors in the demon realm. With his flower blade, he carves through everything before him. Meanwhile, our boy, looking like a complete fool, can't believe what he's witnessing. All he wanted was to make himself vulnerable, so the Redhead would stab him in the back. But instead, the Redhead assumed he was helping and ended up drawing all the monsters to himself. Now, our boy is completely safe and bored out of his mind. With a mischievous smirk, he thinks to himself, I need to attract the monsters so they'll kill me. He opens his status window and sees that he has 480 unused attribute point. Thanks to the redhead, he leveled up again, but he has no idea where to allocate the points. Some time passes, and as they delve deeper into the cave, the redhead tries to talk to him. He glances at his boy and realizes he hasn't killed a single monster. He starts thinking that your boy has no real power and is just leeching off him for experience. But at that moment, the entire cave starts to shake. A system notification appears, warning that a dungeon event is about to begin. Defend against the Demon King's emissary. Suddenly, monsters start appearing, and the system announces that the challenge level is ranked A. They have 20 minutes to survive. The win condition is to withstand the emissary's attack. Then, the system delivers one final warning. The enemy before you has no weaknesses. Looking around, a horde of monsters surrounds them, and now the question is, will our boy finally bite the dust?